please.
Commissioner Frederick, not here yet. He's on his way. Commissioner Lee is absent. Commissioner Lawfer is absent as well. Commissioner Malone.
Here.
Commissioner Teeter.
Here.
Vice Chair Bites.
Here.
And Chair Doherty.
Here.
Thank you.
Somebody.
Maybe we can start with the minutes.
Okay, could we have approval of the minutes for the April 2nd meeting, please?
I move approval of the minutes.
I'll second them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstains? Did he say aye or
Yes.
aye? You abstain for, okay, and any noes? Okay, thank you.
There are no special presentations this evening, and do we have any oral requests? This is the point in the agenda packet where members of the public may address the commission on items of concern to the community that are not listed on the agenda this evening. People may speak for up to 2 minutes on any matter concerning the commission. The law generally prohibits the commission from discussing or taking action on such items. However, the commission may instruct staff accordingly regarding oral requests. Are there any oral requests? Okay. There is no unfinished business? Do we have any new business? Review, do you want me to read that part? Okay, review of the proposed park CIP presented by Amy Olay, interim public works director.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. So we're here tonight to review the proposed capital improvement program budget in regards to referring to the parks funding source. And this is for FY 26 through FY 30. In your packet, we have a report and also an attachment that shows what we have for the projects, but let me just kind of go through these briefly. We have 4 projects that are being carried over from prior years, and these are the JDM restroom improvement bud, which we're also adding additional funds to this of $906,000. And then we have the Los Gatos Creek County Park, the dog park renovation. We're still working with county parks to see if this is a feasible project for the city to be embarking on. The next one is a JD Improvements Rincon design. We started with a budget of 50,000. But in looking at what we want to do, we want to address the resilient surfacing that is out there. So a few years ago, we looked at the play feature, and through maintenance efforts and through a small CIP project, we're able to upgrade a couple of the play features. And then I know the netting is also changed out by our maintenance crews. So now it's time for us to look at the surfacing that is really aged a lot and is deteriorating. So we want to address that. And then the 4th project is to renovate the East Wing and relocate the adult center and the community center. And that project is currently under design. And moving on, then we have 3 projects that are coming up relatively new for FY 26. We have the community center skate park renovation, which we have a presentation following this. And then we have the Virginia Park landscape improvements. This is also one of the projects where Virginia Park, we changed out the play feature a couple of years ago. That was a successful project, but there's additional landscaping work that we want to address now. And we had planned to take on this in FY26. And then the last one that you see, that one is a new project that is being proposed, and that's a community center pool replacement. We're starting in FY26 with 2 million, and then in 27, 1.5. But the total project we're looking at is $12 million. So we're proposing that the park fees cover 3.5, and with the remainder being covered by debt service. And so that's something that we need to look at, but we want to put it as a proposed project because we've been doing a lot of repairs over the years. And, about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, we did a study to see what sort of repairs that need to happen in at the pool. So we're proposing that we add that project to this budget and have the $3.5 million to fund a portion of the work using parks funds. And just as an update, we had talked to you all about the Pruneyard Creek Trail Extension Project. It's not here because we are currently starting construction. Design is all complete and we got the permit from Caltrans. And our hope was to start construction last week, but we stumbled on some issues with Caltrans, but we've resolved those. So we're hoping that we start construction on Monday. And then the construction will end likely sometime in June. Okay, and then with that one, just as a reminder that it's a $704,000 project, but we have $250,000 from developer fees and $101,000 from grant funding, which leaves about $353,000 coming from park funds. And I think in the report, we also talked about the Parks Master Plan project that is still continuing. I just wanted to list that out, and that's not funded using park funds, that's using general fund money. But I just thought that would be, just kind of bring the whole package together. Just want to share that with you.
With regards to the community center pool. With regards to the community center pool replacement, does that involve at all the dressing rooms, or is that going to be addressed elsewhere?
No, it does. So it would be the pool and the locker room facilities.
Because those are like original stuff, right?
So is the pool.
No, I know. My son was, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody have any other questions about the Public Works plan? No? Okay,
Oh, just a quick question. I'm sorry if you have to answer this and have to get up again, but the Pruneyard connection, is that on the existing route that's there and just improvements, or is it in a different location? And I started this January, so
Oh, no,
it's
that's
probably
okay.
been discussed
That's
in the
okay.
past.
So it's actually a connection to the spur trail. So you're looking at it being adjacent to Highway 17, so between Highway 17 and the Pruneyard parking lot. So it connects Los Gatos Creek Spur to Campbell Avenue for the Portals project.
Okay.
And then so that land is actually owned by Caltrans, and that's why we had to work with Caltrans to get an encroachment permit. And so the issue is that permit, but the agreement that we have, we entered into a maintenance agreement. So after the trail is complete, the city will take on maintenance and operation responsibility. And when we did that design, it adhered to all Caltrans requirements, like the fencing and such.
So it sounds like it'll be a more direct connection
Yeah.
than the current, like where you go, like to the back end of the Pruneyard. Okay.
Correct, correct. So it's safer too, so that people aren't having to go through the parking lot.
As part of that agreement, is that is the city also taking on the law enforcement within that section as well? I just know that section of trail has a lot of unhoused. And more recently, that's been, we've seen more and more of it. So I'm just wondering that connection from the Campbell Ave to the spur, is that something now that Campbell PD would be able to go and enforce any? rules
We
like that?
could, but that's something that we have to work with Caltrans on. If we are to remove any unhoused setups there, we need to coordinate with Caltrans on that.
Okay, because I know classically, the Caltrans areas are highly desired because local law enforcement cannot really go in there and do anything. And Caltrans takes a while to respond. So I guess want to see if we're putting money and effort into that space, that it continue to be, I guess, use and look as intended.
We're hoping that by introducing a trail, that will help deter, because there will be more people using the trail. Because right now it's a space that's fenced off.
Yeah.
So technically, people could set up there already as it is.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I think it's going to be great. I just want to make sure got everything out.
Yeah, and when those things come up, we'll definitely have to coordinate with Caltrans.
And then just a quick question on the pool. I think we all heard from the community and some of the master plan, the desire to start on the pool. So I think that's a great thing to get started on. Will the city council encumber those funds from the debt service at the same time if they approve the park funds?
I'm gonna have our assistant finance director answer that question.
Good evening, Norbert Vong, Assistant Finance Director. With regards to the $8.5 million of debt service, that will need to go to council for approval in fiscal 27. And upon approval, we'll receive the funds then in fiscal 27, debt service will start there, and we'll be able to encumber those funds upon receipt.
Okay, but they'll receive this report if we're recommending approval, and it'll have that will have to come out in the future if they're progressing in the project. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Skate park updates? No. I missed that part. I'd like to open the meeting to public opinion. Any public comments
For the capital improvement plan,
for the
correct?
capital improvement projects? Okay, since there are none, I will close the public. The commission, any questions, comments?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the projects that are already in progress. The skate park renovation that we're gonna be discussing tonight, so it's important that that's funded. And in the pool, which I've certainly in my short time heard is a priority for the community. And I don't know if we touched on the Virginia Park landscape improvements, but that's probably a relatively small project given the size of the park.
I'll just comment really quickly. So with the proposed projects for fiscal 26, there are 3 that are on there that, as you're saying, if they're not approved. However, I would say the skate park, because it has ARPA funding attached to it, there is no reason for them not to approve it. They knew it was coming, and the ARPA funding was addressed and given in anticipation of that. So I wouldn't anticipate any changes with that project not getting approved.
Any other comments?
That's good to hear, because I think the skateboard park is at the pool, as you say. The skateboard park and the pool, as you say, and the dressing rooms, those are priorities. I mean, I don't know about the senior center moving those, but
That one's already funded and underway. Yeah, so it was a multi-year stepping thing, and that's more of an accessibility and access from the parking lot, so that it's easier getting those. It's adults who utilize our services. The adult center is kind of in the farthest point of our campus.
Now we would need a motion. We don't need one.
Yes.
Okay, if I could have a motion. And then a roll call vote.
I'll move approval to recommend the capital improvement action plan.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any noes? Any yes? Thank you.
Okay, since I skipped this earlier, I tried to skip ahead to it. Skate park update.
All right, good evening. So I am going to kick us off with just a little bit of background. As I just previously shared, last November, the city council approved an additional $100,000 from ARPA funding to be given to this project if we could secure that funding under contract by the end of the fiscal year, or by the end of the calendar year. And so we quickly went to the GSA to find a viable vendor who could assist us in the renovation of the skate park. So we selected American Ramp Company, and we do have Maddie Ferson and Julia Bruckler online tonight to kind of walk us through the process that we've done. So we've gone under contract with them, and we started our community outreach. And so Maddie, I'm going to let you take it away, and Becca's going to allow you to share the screen, and she's going to kind of walk you through the work that they've done to this point and where we're at. And tonight, we're not looking for a motion on anything. We're just simply looking for your feedback and your comments. And we're going to do our best to review the comments in a generalized form so you can understand. I know not everybody here is skate park experts, so some of the terminology that's used is not common language for everybody. So Maddie, I'll let you take it away. Maddie, we can't hear you.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yep, there you are.
Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. I'll start over. So yes, my name's Maddie. I'm with American Ramp Company. We design and build skate parks, bike parks, and pump tracks. So we have been working, like Natasha said, since November with the city to look at your guys' skate park. And just confirm you guys can see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So quick overview on your guys' skate park and kind of where we're at right now with the project. So your guys' current park, it's an above ground skate park. The pad measures roughly, 12,000 to 12,500 square foot. So I will say that's a good size skate park. I think probably the majority that we work with are around that 10,000 square foot mark or a little bit smaller. So you guys have a great pad to work with, and really excited about what we're going to be doing for you guys. So what's out there right now? I'm guessing, I think that equipment is probably 15 to 20 years old. If I understand correctly, I think it was a local community member who built that originally, which is really awesome. But I think skating styles have changed, kind of what the cities are looking for as far as liability and meeting certain standards within the industry. All that has changed. So I just kind of want to walk through a few things that we've noticed very quickly with your guys' skate park. So the first thing is that what you have right now does not meet current ASTM safety standards. So that is just the governing board who oversees all sorts of projects, but there is a specific standard for above ground skate ramps. And so I just put a bunch of red arrows here of like, hey, here's everything that's not meeting standards. And I will show you guys. I just pulled this out of the PDF of ASTM. So Natasha has a copy of that if you guys want to read through it in detail. It's very boring, but I thought these would be some easy points that we could just look at. So above ground skate parks, anything that is over 3 foot tall needs to have guardrails, and the guardrails need to be designed in a certain way. So these rungs in the rails, they need to be vertical instead of horizontal because we don't want to encourage kids to use the rails like a ladder. The corners, they need to be rounded and not a 90-degree angle. And then all of the ramps need to have enclosures so people don't, lose a board or get stuck under there. So kind of back to this photo with all the arrows, you guys can see the ramps you have right now, the rungs are going the wrong way. You have the sharp edges, and then all of your ramps are open, so they do not have enclosures. Another thing within the standards is you don't want equipment that can move while being skated. So you'll see some of these wood boxes are definitely being moved around and kind of, built here to create this interesting ramp coming off of the mini ramp. So there's just a lot of things at your guys' park right now that aren't meeting the standards as of a few years ago. So number one, we want to get that updated, right? Like we don't want kiddos or skaters using equipment that could potentially injure them or, could fall apart and create a hazard for skaters and for the city. So that's definitely something we're gonna get fixed up for you guys. I wanted to show you the ramps that we are proposing for your skate park. So we are looking to do our Pro Series ramp, which is our most popular above ground skate park setup. So it's not different in the sense that it's a metal riding surface. So your skaters are already used to this style of ramp. So in that regard, they're already going to be familiar with this type of skate park. However, this, as you can see in the rendering, it meets all of those standards we just talked about. And you can see we've even got the ASTM little stamp here at the bottom. This does come with a 20-year warranty, which I've kind of just included a little screenshot. So all of the steel is either hot dip galvanized or powder coated. So that's going to help make sure no rust or deterioration takes place at the park. As far as maintenance that the city would have to do, every 5 to 7 years, we recommend that you repaint the surface. And that's just, you buy it by the gallon and it's a roll-on application. So virtually as maintenance free as we can make it, but it still has all the benefits of other build types like that 20-year warranty. It's going to accommodate every wheel type, so bikers, scooters, skateboards, rollerblades, all of that. I've also included here just a little background on ARC. We are fully insured. We've got the contractor's license for California. We do a ton of work in the state. I think, man, we've done probably 100 of these type of parks in California alone. Lindsay, California is the most recent one that comes to mind. And then we did do a concrete skate park up in American Canyon a couple of years ago. So definitely a lot of work happening in the northern part of the state. So I'll just kind of say here's what we've been doing since November. So our team got together, we kind of went through the park, some of the goals, budgets, restrictions, and our team always starts these skate parks with community engagement. So we put together this flyer that you see here on the left, and the city kind of ran with that and put some additional flyers together for the in-person engagement that we participated in a few months ago. So Julia, who's on the call in case any specific questions come up, she attended that event. And in conjunction with that, we also ran an online survey. So we wanted to give your community the chance to meet with us in person, come talk to the designer who was, going to be putting this park together. But also, if they couldn't attend, or maybe they didn't feel comfortable, speaking up or approaching Julia, we also gave them an online survey option. So both of those took place. Kind of the online survey went from February to March, and then Julia was there on March 1st. And just here's some photos from that in-person engagement. So we had a really good turnout. I think 30 to 40 people attended that. So we love to see that. We brought some sample designs that we asked the skaters and folks there to kind of do the sticker exercise where they put dots on their favorite features. And you can see Julia here kind of talking with everybody and just kind of one-on-one hearing what they like, what they don't like, how they use the skate park, what they'd want to see there. And then you can see the online survey, we had 74 responses. So again, that's a really good response. A lot of cities we work with don't get anywhere close to that. So we were really encouraged by the number of people who participated in that. So what we ran in the online survey is this photo that we took, or this design sample that we took to the in-person engagement. So here's a couple different renderings of that skate park design that we brought just to get the conversation started. And for that survey, like I mentioned, we had 74 people respond. And one of the questions is we just said, hey, here's this design we put together. How likely is it that you're going to enjoy this park exactly as it is? And you can see here that the average rating was 4.41 out of 5. So that was a really, really positive result. And you can see by far, 43 people said it's perfect. We love it. So that was really encouraging to hear. However, we did hear a couple of really specific requests, not only at the in-person session, but in some of the online feedback. So what we just finished with yesterday was our second online survey. And so what we did with that was we
Maddie,
showed.
Can I stop you real quick? Just
Yeah.
so the commissioners are aware, all the results from that survey were included in your packet. So the report had very detailed, and it's online if you didn't, it should have been in the link. So all of the information of all the questions that were asked and all the results are part of that packet. Okay, go ahead.
Perfect. Yes, and I have that too. If you guys have any questions, me or Julia are happy to answer them. But so what we did after that meeting is we made a couple of changes to that first design option, just a couple of small tweaks. We created a few concrete style elements. We reworked kind of how some of these ramps were laid out. So again, just minor tweaks because, the majority of people loved it and they said it was perfect from that first survey. The second option, we really kind of leaned into some comments from some of the more experienced skaters who just wanted us to look at maybe doing a different layout, still using the same type of ramps, same heights, same features, but just reworking it into a different layout. So again, this survey just closed yesterday and we had 65 responses online. And you can see from the screen that 72% of your guys' participants liked option 2. So the majority of people actually liked this reworked layout, which again is really awesome. Same ramps as the first design, just kind of put in a different pattern. So we pulled here just kind of a few of the reoccurring comments that we heard from some of the designs. So we don't have to go through this in a lot of detail, but if you guys have specific questions, we can talk to it. I think the main thing we heard is that people want to see more flow or more ways to kind of get from point A to point B throughout the park. So a lot of people want us to try to create some more of those features that will just help them to flow through the park. I will say a lot of people were excited to see some smaller, more beginner-friendly features. You'll see over here like inclusivity and beginner and kid-friendly. So I think that's one thing we're really excited about is we have a couple of proper sections here for the new riders or for the kids. So overall, I think we're really encouraged by what we're hearing. What does that mean for next steps? So now that we have the second survey done and we've got the preferred layout that people like, our team is going to go back to the design and start working on some of those small tweaks just to address some of those flow questions, Some folks want to see different size mani pads and rails. So just some small details. But I don't think we anticipate anything super drastic changing, but we'll put another design together and we'll let the city look it over and hopefully get some more feedback from the community, and then we'll just go from there.
Thank you, Maddie. So if you want to go back to the page that has option 1 and 2, just so that they have a frame of reference here. So tonight, as I mentioned, we're looking for feedback from the commission on, I know this is not your area of expertise for all of you. And as Maddie mentioned, we really went through all of the comments that came in and really tried to kind of go through them at a high level of like, here are some themes, so it helps you to understand. But collectively, we're working together. And I don't know if you can zoom in on your screen, Maddie, like one of the biggest things so that they can understand with flow that we talked about was how do you increase kind of like diagonal, you know, through the park, and some of the things that we were talking about. Sorry, this is not my language. Off the edges to kind of help with that. Can you show them where that would be and what?
Yep.
That would be, Maddie? Okay.
Yes. So hopefully you can see me drawing on my screen here.
No.
No? Okay.
Nope. Now I see a big orange. Okay, I will try verbally to go through. So
No, you're
at the top of the screen, you'll see kind of the half pipe and it goes over, and then there's like a pyramid-y looking thing. At the bottom, there's kind of how, instead of it just being straight off the edge, it ramps down. So adding, what are those things called?
a hip or like a pyramid. Mhm.
Adding hips or pyramids to different elements within the park to kind of help increase some of that flow. There was not a lot of positive feedback about the, I call it the tombstone in the corner there. There's one thing that staff has noticed is that there's no corner bend. So we've been talking with them about, you know, maybe extending that ramp around as a possibility. But really kind of going through all of the like feedback. Some people are very detailed in their comments, which is helpful for us when we can go through to kind of see what we can and can't do to implement within the park. So that's where we're at. Happy to answer questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Just, you know, we received one really well-written, lengthy comment letter. It was really focused on the preferring concrete. And I'm assuming, without knowing, that that's just a much more expensive option that would be well out of the range of our budget. But I just wanted to confirm that.
That is correct.
Yeah, like, so what, like ballpark, what would a concrete of the same scale cost?
Julia or Maddie?
Yeah, I think, you know, I would say if we were to do a 10,000 square foot concrete skate park, I would ballpark that in the $700,000 to $800,000 range. You guys do have an existing pad, so it might be a little bit less than that, but when we're talking concrete, we have to cut into the pad and then reform everything and repour it. So I would say we're still 600, 700,000 to maximize the space that you have with a concrete option.
And what is the proposed dollar value right now?
Right now, the project's at 320.
Thank you.
I don't have really a question, but more comments to spark discussion. I don't know if until after.
More questions? Yeah, so, and I am one of the people on the commission that doesn't have skateboard expertise. So I'm gonna concentrate the questions on the ones I understand. The seating seems like a good idea. It's not shown in the plan. Is that just because it's outside the skate park design? Is that something that the city would place around, or would it be part of this design? Seems like a great idea to have a hangout place around it.
Currently, there's one bench inside and there's picnic benches outside. That was a comment as well that was generated. So we'll look into seeing where we can fit those in that don't obstruct path of travel for skaters.
Okay, and then I think it was mentioned, there was one comment that I went through, that was talking about getting the boards chewed up on the edges. And is that something that's being incorporated? I think it was suggesting having a curb or something on the,
Yeah, at the bottom, I remember someone talking to me specifically about this, where they spent more money buying new boards, because when it launches out, it goes under those spikes and damages boards. So if we could create some sort of rubber barrier under that, might be something we just do in-house,
Okay.
and not part of the project for sure.
A question about the ramps. Generally, metal structures get very, very hot in the summer. Is there anything that is being implemented in the design that could help alleviate that? I know if somebody falls and gets their bare skin on a metal ramp when it's 95 degrees outside, that's gonna hurt. So I'm wondering if there's any like coatings or anything else. I don't know if American Ramp Company has.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I will say the ramps that we're proposing, they are tan, so that will help deflect some of the heat. I think what you guys have right now, there's a lot of different colors, but a lot of it is kind of that raw steel, which is dark, which will absorb more heat. We do have, not that I'm recommending this, but we do have another above ground product that is actually a skate light surfacing, which will be a bit cooler. The only problem with that is it's more maintenance. So you have to replace all of those individual sheets every couple of years versus just repainting. So there's kind of pros and cons to both. I will say, like I mentioned earlier, you guys have metal ramps right now. So it is something your skate community is already familiar with as far as some of the heat in the summer. The other option would just be looking at some shade structures or just like intentional seating areas where people can cool off.
Thank you. One other question, the tombstone feature that is concrete, does it have the same, I guess, siding protecting it underneath it, or is it literally just a slab at an angle sticking out of the ground?
Yeah, so that feature actually is made of steel, and it's a replica of a skateboard, like a broken skateboard. So that is made of steel, but like Natasha said, there was a lot of requests to replace that feature. So we'll work with our design team, but I'm anticipating that we will swap that feature out with something else that was more heavily requested by the community.
I have a question. I noticed in the presentation, there's a wheels choice in percentages. We were looking at some of the wheels and actions in the parks. So the question I have is there a look at making sure this is safe, or whether there's age or beginner or intermediate, and what kind of tool they're riding?
Okay, let me try to clarify what you're asking. So you're asking if the ramps are safe for all ages and all wheels?
A little broader than that.
Okay,
If somebody's coming off the ramp,
okay.
are there not structure, but are there practices or implementations to make sure everybody gets protected? It's not on that. If a kid's skating one way and an older kid's coming the other way, and they're both coming fast,
So
what are you doing to help protect
I,
those
and the
elements?
city are not doing anything because we do not, it's a skate at your own risk skate park. And so, I mean, inherently skateboarding is dangerous. We require per our city ordinance that everyone wears a helmet and pads. And as you can see, when you drive by, that's not happening out there. So, you know, skateboarding is a culture, and people learn the etiquette by being out there and becoming regulars. And, you know, the older people who are there who are skating kind of teach that etiquette to the younger kids. So, I mean, maybe during public comment, someone might have a different opinion of that. But as far as stopping someone from colliding, I mean, it's the same as a playground, right? If you're coming off the slide and another kid's running this way, like, you know, it's going to happen. I don't have a good answer for you.
That part of the question of, for the wheels of choice, are all those things allowed? So that's, it's
Yeah.
skateboard, scooters, bike. I've never seen bikes there. I don't
So
think.
per our ordinance, we do not currently allow bikes. We would, these ramps can withstand bicycles in the space. That's one of our biggest issues right now, especially on Tuesdays when Bike Party meets at our site, is that they're in there. And so this would alleviate that. So we could update our ordinance to include all wheels. But, you know, it's kind of a choice that would be coming back through once the park is done.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if the scooter is, or the skateboard is motorized?
We don't allow motorized inside, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, Natasha. The park that you guys have right now as far as collisions, so we design parks to try to have proper flow, what we're talking about, you know, so we're not gonna aim ramps at each other or have traffic crossing. What's out there right now, there are a lot of obstacles that people are moving around wherever they want, which is actually creating more risk at the park that you have. So once we get it replaced and updated, the ramps we install, people cannot move those. So they will stay where they're intended to be.
One question about the ARPA funds. Is that already committed to, I guess, you mentioned that was part, once we got that funding, you now contracted ARC. That money is already committed to them, or is there some left over, I guess? Trying to understand, because I know there's a deadline as to when it can be utilized.
So it's committed for this contract with the understanding that the project that you just heard from the CIP will get funded July 1st to, you know, enhance that project budget, right? So it'll kind of do an amendment to that contract. Yeah. But the deadline is December 26th, 2026.
Are there any city staff members that are assigned to the skateboard park that will come?
Not anymore, not post-COVID, no.
But once it's updated, what will that?
No. So there's legislation that came, I think in 2014, that when your park is staffed, there's an inherent liability on the people staffing it that you should have stopped behavior. And so you're more liable by having staff there. So one of the big things during COVID is that we didn't have it open. And we did some digging to find that legislation. We were able to kind of change, say legislation, that might be not the right word, but what's the word when, litigation, sorry. Like there's litigation where it was more beneficial for the city to just open the gates and not have it staffed, to reduce liability and risk on the city. And during COVID, it was great because then we could just open the gates, because it was definitely requested, and we had no staffing at that time. That was, if they wanted it open and our policy was that we had to have it staffed, we had to figure out a way to not have it staffed because we didn't have any temp staff during that time.
Any other questions? Okay, I'd like to open the meeting for public comments. Anyone from the public? Could you please come up and state your name? Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry. So I'm super out of it. I don't even know what happened. I got like allergies or sinus. I don't know. Anyways, I'm Chris Anderson. I was the one that wrote the public comment. I worked at the park for all of my youth. I'm 14 years old. I started volunteering there for summer camps and then through college. Anyways, my comment is that I don't know.
The renovation is cool. I mean, it is what it is. I don't really see no worries. I don't really think it's very necessary, but it is what it is. So I'm trying to make the best of it. There's a lot of positive things that can happen with it. So I have a little list of problems and solutions, and a little bit of answer to some of the stuff you guys were talking about. And at the end of the day, it's not an ideal skate park, an above ground park with metal ramps. An ideal skate park is in-ground concrete. It's safer that way. There's a lot more design flexibility. Like for example, safer, the ramps above ground, kids fly off of them. I've seen kids, I saw this kid one time, he flipped right off of one of our ramps and he landed around on his feet. I was like, heck, that was crazy. But at the end of the day, they're just not as safe, which is one of the reasons for the request to consider doing in-ground. If it's not possible, it's not possible. The other thing with metal problems is they're just really, really loud and they hinder the design capabilities. So the other problem with the current designs is there's not enough flow. It's not necessarily, in a lot of people's opinion, better than the current park we have. Right now, the current park we have is skated it's kind of designed in like a circular format, kind of follows the fence line, and then it sends you back. There's ramps kind of this direction. And the current designs are kind of sectional, which is fine, but they're not really intertwined. Like you go this way, there's ramps that go this way, and it's just not, there's not enough, there's a lot of usability issues with the design. There's some unskatable sections of the design that need to be fixed. There's hazards that need to get fixed that have been noted. I don't understand what the clear goals are. It seems like we're just trying to replace what we have, but not sure what the goals as far as what we're gonna achieve at the end of this. There's been some assurances that have been made without remedies provided. No one I know is very stoked on it. Am I done or can I go a little longer with solutions? I sent some to you. I could read them real quick, the solutions. Cool. The layout has a lot of potential. Natasha's cool. Maddie's super cool. Julia's super cool. So I think there's things can get done. It's just really minor things that need to get hashed out, like the hazards and the usability issues and the things that are unskatable. A lot of it has to do with the slope of the terrain. It's a really downhill park, and there's certain things that are just backwards. Like there's a stair set uphill. I just went there on the way here today, and I was like trying to see if that stair is skatable, and it's just not skatable because of the uphill. A more round design is a solution to kind of go in directions. I think you talked about that as well. Resolve the noted hazards, alter the unskatable features, decide if we can keep any of the ramps we have, because there is some, like, I understand the issue with some of the taller ramps and the railings, whatever, but there's some smaller ramps. There's some custom stuff we had made not too long ago that would be nice to keep if possible, or find something to do with it. I'm not sure if everything's getting recycled or demoed or what. Yeah, it'd be nice to kind of figure out what the goals are. And then also just to note that Ark and Maddie, they've said that there's not really a limit on design, like timing, or there's a timing constraint, but there's not like, their efforts aren't going to be exhausted, she said, like once the city approves it. So we can keep kind of figuring these things out, I think, and that's my goal, and that's why I'm here to talk. Thanks, Wes.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Okay, being so, then I will close the public comment section. And what are we going to do? Commission, do you guys have any comments,
Yeah,
questions?
there's actually one thing I wanted to follow up. Thank you for your very detailed comments. It's an education, and it's clear to me that, like, if we had the money to do it, that like a concrete skate park would be better. I think this fits within our budget, and we can move quickly and get some work done. As far as how I see our goals is, it was noted all the things that don't meet the guidelines now, and I think as a city that we can't provide something that isn't meeting the guidelines that are out there for a skate park. And then also hopefully improve it and have like a new design that works really well. I did want to ask, because I forgot about when we were asking questions before about that slope question. Is that something you are aware of and factored into the design, or is it something that can be mitigated in some way? Or how did that factor into how do you look at the design?
So the park is sloped from the corner, if you want to bring that up, Maddie, from the corner where the light is, kind of where the tombstone was located, to the far corner of the existing half pipe. So it slopes downhill from that corner at a 1.68%. So it's under the 2% that's ADA. And it slopes from that same portion to, oh, you have that picture, perfect. So from the corner to the gate opening, I think that's a 1.64, if I remember correctly. So there is this, you know, a small slope. I am not a skateboarder to know if that makes a difference. Apparently, and I would say that there's been several comments about sloping of the park, and so just taking that into account as we move forward. You know, I'm assuming, yeah, it's understanding the language, and Julia and Maddie do, I do not. So that, and just making sure that things are the right direction. We had some more comments come in today that weren't included in the comments we posted up there for you. And, you know, they're swapping out the stairs for other things, but stairs are kind of a major issue we have on our campus where they're utilizing interior spaces. And so it is something we'd like to be included in the park to eliminate that, so that we can clearly say the stairs are located in the skate park and skate there. But those are the current slopes. We will have it retested just in case there's been settling. It's been 20 years since this was done. So we'll have someone from Public Works go out and kind of check it out.
And Natasha, I'll just piggyback. What I shared with you was industry average for the slope of a flat area on a skate park is it has to be at least 1% so you don't have drainage issues and water collecting in the park. So anywhere between 1 and 2% slope is the average, industry average. So if this drawing is accurate, your pad is within the limits within the industry.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. You have to have some slope for drainage, but just to think about it in the design.
Yep, absolutely.
And the other question, obviously better safety factor if everything is in place and can't be moved. Is the infrastructure such that after, 6 months, a year of use, and, something's not working with the flow or people are kind of don't like that, is that then possible just to unbolt it and move it or however you would move it somewhere else? Is it that flexible or not?
Yeah, great question. So yes, we call it semi-permanent. So if things needed to be relocated or features needed to be modified or added on to, our crew could perform those services. So yes, it can always be changed if needed after we install it. But it is a specialty install, so it's not something your public works crew could do. We would have to.
So, excuse me, as a, I guess, skateboarder in my youth and someone who still rides boards in general, this is kind of.
Thank goodness there's one of us.
This one's kind of near and dear to me, especially since I went to Campbell. I went to the skate park when I was a kid as well. I have to say I was disappointed when I found out the budget and what the scope was. As was mentioned, a concrete skate park, in-ground skate park is what everyone wants. I think attending the reach out day at the skate park where we did the sticker board activity and kind of got input from the public. It was noted in the presentation that the overwhelming approval of like saying, yes, this would be fun to skate. I don't think that's necessarily a testament to their design, but more to what the current park features include. It is something you can have fun at, but if a skateboarder had a choice to go here or somewhere else, they're always gonna go to it. So I just want to point that out. I guess just, again, having this background, I know, and I also share the same sentiments that Mr. Henderson does. So from my standpoint, to me, I'm concerned that going through with this kind of, I don't want to say Band-Aid approach, but kind of a small kind of adding on and not doing a full in-depth project will result in no further renovations ever happening. And the ideal skate park that everybody wants not happening either. I understand there's not funding for that. I understand that's very difficult. And kind of speaking to the letter that we received, I know it was mentioned that one of the Tony Hawk foundations essentially partnered with a city. In my mind, the only way that a brand new concrete skate park gets built is if you have another organization supporting funding. That takes time. So I guess I'm saying all this just to kind of voice my hesitation with this project. Do I think the layout that they have would be fun and be used and be loved by the people? It would. It would. I just don't think that's the ideal path forward. Understanding the kind of the bounds that we're working within. I guess I just wanted to make sure that's clear and have everyone on this commission understand my feedback.
So are you kind of proposing that we put off this project until we reevaluate the whole thing and come up with twice as much money? It sounds like a cement.
And
Park
that
would
takes time.
Right, well,
Right.
and plus a lot of money. I mean, there's already so many more improvements that are gonna take place. This is one project.
Right.
There's so many.
Well, and that's the concern though, is we do this project, it doesn't get touched for another 20 years. But at the same time, the features that are out there now are not safe.
Right, they're not.
There are ramps that are not flush with the ground. They can be moved around. So to which a lot of the skaters do enjoy actually, is being able to move it around, though from a city standpoint and liabilities, that is not ideal. So I guess I feel torn and I'm not quite sure path forward.
So, and I got that from the public comment, right, that it's not the creme de la creme. But I just want to, because, I do want to rely on you as someone on the commission that has experience. It would be safer and more enjoyable, or is that like, can we say that? Because, even if you, and I've been here long enough to see Virginia Park, John D. Morgan get redone 3 times each. And 20 years, of course, does seem like a long time. That's someone's entire childhood playing at a skate park. But if we move forward with this, someone will that kid will have a safe place for their childhood, and then maybe the next, evolution is doing something bigger.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think based on the results that we saw from the presentation, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
It would be safer, it would be more enjoyed by the users. But we're then looking at the next, if there is a full build out that ever happens, we're looking at, like you said, another 10 years probably.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
If you're investing that much, it doesn't make sense to rip it all out. So I agree with that. We would want it to, last 15, 20 years.
Right, and ARC mentioned the 20-year warranty, I think it was.
Yep.
So that's from a city standpoint, and especially for someone who's, looking at the budget here and is not as familiar with skateboarding and other things, looking at that, you'd say, well, we should be fine. Next 20 years, why are we touching this if we do this project? Why would we?
Yeah. No, I think that's rational. I don't think it would be. I don't think we would be coming back to it.
Yeah. But So yeah, those are my general concerns. I don't know the path forward from here. I know the ARC is going to be coming back with
So-
another design.
Does anyone on the commission, possibly just Michael, have specific comments on that design or any elements within the park or changes you would like to see that, that are within the constraints that we have? That's what we're kind of looking for. And this is an opportunity for us to kind of share what we've done, all the comments we received, anything from you, and then we're gonna hit the drawing board again.
Yeah, and I was worried coming into this that we would have like even split on the two designs. So I was very happy to see that one is much preferred. So I think we can clearly recommend that. I think, as we're going into the details, we should continue to work with the skate community on the design, particularly looking at the grade. I definitely like the idea, and this is maybe leaning on the stuff I understand, of having seating where people can rest, maybe some shade over that seating, or if you could do shade over a portion of the park, and then the curbing to kind of prevent the skateboards from being eaten up. And that would be, listening and incorporating as much input without obviously, still sticking with the basic design that we have within our budget is my comments.
Question about, I know there was mention that they're changing the gate and access. It looked like it was pulled out completely. Is that so it's accessible?
Yeah, so
24
the
24/7.
intent is that the park would then just be open and accessible. Yeah.
Oh, that was a question I have, and I should know this, but is it lit now or not?
No, the
Okay.
track is lit, the skate park is not.
Okay, I should know that because I run there at night. Would there be any ability to add lighting for the skate park, kind of like the basketball courts?
My personal opinion would be with the limited funds is that we would address the ramps and everything and put every dollar towards that. And then we would do lighting as a separate project.
Okay.
I just don't want to take, lighting can be very expensive and I don't want to take away from the skate park.
One other comment, I guess question. From, I guess in the scope of the project, there's not any improvement that's gonna be done on the surface itself.
The pad is in fairly good condition, so we didn't want to have to dig into that because it just takes away from the funds. There is one component or element within the park that is like a cement fastened with the metal transitions. And so we would have to remove that one and kind of fix the pad in that area.
Okay. Yeah, I guess to me, that seems like something worth investing in is kind of resurfacing that. Yes, it's usable. Is it ideal for a brand new skate park? Not exactly. The best part about coming to a nice new skate park, especially a concrete in-ground one, is there's no undulation, there's no cracking, peeling, anything like that. And I know there are portions of the pad that are occurring.
We can look at that for sure.
Any other comments?
Of course, like usually all suggestions are adding money, right? But I do think like the surfacing would be really important if that isn't kind of a new thing. And then the other comment that kind of caught my eye was something that makes it special, makes it Campbell. And maybe there's not the room to that be a skate feature. But I did like, there's a graphic of the Campbell tree, which I love the basketball court tree in the middle. If there was some way to make that larger and in conjunction with improving the surface to have a emblem of the city of Campbell or water tower or whatever it is that makes it, something that says it's Campbell's skate park. Obviously, it wouldn't be the priority.
Moving forward, though, I guess there's going to be another round of, design that is brought to commission to discuss.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to refine this with some online community engagement kind of components to kind of flush it out a bit more, and then we'll bring this back again. but we won't, not looking for two design options. We're trying to refine one.
And do you want a recommendation from the commission to proceed with one of the designs or?
No,
you've
we're
heard
just
enough?
looking for
Yeah,
your
yeah,
feedback.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna stick to the community
Yeah.
weighing in.
Mhm.
Is that it? Okay, then, Natasha, I'll kick it off to you.
Okay, so some upcoming community events that are coming on. There is a Star Wars that already passed. Sorry, that was last Sunday, so you hopefully got the packet. There's a history happy hour at the museum at the Carriage House this Friday, May 9th from 5. Did I miss? Oh, June meeting. I'm sorry, I jumped right into this one. Sorry. So June meeting, last month, we discussed having the June meeting in a park. We had talked about doing it at the community center, so we could do the June meeting at the skate park, if that's of interest to you guys, to kind of walk the space and look at it and kind of, I mean, it's up to you.
That
That
sounds-
was kind of suggested, but I'm open to discussion.
That sounds like a great idea
Yeah,
to
great
me.
idea.
So June 4th meeting, if you want to just, we will have to cancel the regular meeting and post a special meeting, so we will need a motion for that and the location. And if you would like to change the time to not be at 7 PM, this would be the time to have that discussion as well.
But I think we talked about 5 o'clock being a good start time. Is that?
Does it work for everybody?
Yeah.
I should double check my calendar. Actually. That's a suggestion. What's the date?
Wednesday, June 4th.
Works for me.
Is there, oftentimes when we do meetings in parks, it's really kind of an approval of the minutes and kind of a walking of that space that we're in. So if we would just meet directly at the skate park then. That work? Okay.
Yeah.
I need a motion.
I move that we cancel the regular meeting and have a special meeting for June 4th at the Campbell Community Center Skate Park, starting at 5 PM.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Okay, thank you.
All right, sorry, my apologies. Community events, so upcoming events that we have going on. This Friday, May 9th, the Carriage House, we have the History Happy Hour. Caroline Cocciardi presents Leonardo da Vinci's unknown masterpiece, The Room of Knots. That'll be from 5:30 to 7:30, and it's hosted by the Campbell Historic Museum in Ainsley House. There's a Happy Brain Fun Run this Saturday at 10 AM out at Campbell Park. It's hosted by Thrive Mind Coaching, so if you're out on the trail this weekend, you will see them. And then the following weekend is Huntington Disease 10K, 5K Run out at Campbell Park as well. That starts at 9:30, and that is hosted by the Huntington Disease Society of America. Next weekend is the 17th, 18th is also the Boogie Festival downtown. So on Saturday, it'll be from 10 to 6 and Sunday from 10 to 5. That's hosted by the Campbell Chamber of Commerce. We have a kids night event at the community center on Friday, May 23rd from 6 to 9:30. It's for kids ages 4 to 12. It's hosted by Recreation and Community Services. And then the Garden Grooves at the Ainsley House presents DJ Angatos. I'm gonna mess that one up. It's on Sunday, May 5th from 1:30 to 3:30 in the Ainsley Garden, and that's hosted by the Museum Foundation. And last but not least, we have the Memorial Day event on Monday, May 26th from 9 AM to 10 AM at the Orchard City Green, and that is hosted by the Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation. And that's all.
Okay, any questions? I think that's gonna move us. Chair Teeter, Parks and Creek Trail.
Well, I must apologize. I was out and about in other areas hiking outside of Campbell, so I have nothing to personally report, but hopefully the other two members maybe did some hiking or walking through the Campbell Parks.
Yeah, so I spent some time at Edith Morley. And I think the first community commission meeting that I was at, I described the Edith Morley sign as the worst condition park sign I had ever seen. or something to that effect. And now I am very happy to report it's one of the best signs I've ever seen. Looks fantastic. One suggestion with that, if in the future, it'd be nice to have Edith Morley on both sides, so when you're in the park, and there seems to be room on it, right? Because the sign has two faces, and just to add the name on the other side. I saw the new Golden Fines with the stabilizer. It's still a little bit of loose surface, but I'm sure it will help hold it together a lot, and it looks great. So fantastic. I think there's a lot of unrealized potential in that park. There was two people on a beautiful day on a Saturday, and then when we passed the water tower park coming home, there was like 8 people in that tiny park. So I think that's something we should look to making improvements there and publicizing that park, particularly because I have the native plant open space interest. There's great native plantings there that the park staff does a great job of maintaining. And it'd be nice to have some interpretation around that so that people could take that and put it in their homes and gardens to have the same sort of native plantings that are much more sustainable, and then they're great habitat. But overall, just it looked great. And then I also wanted to mention my wife's a big rose pruner, so at the water tower park, all the roses were obviously well pruned because they just looked fabulous. I mean, they're just full of bloom. So it's great to see that. And my wife's the expert, so I kind of she was the one that said you guys were doing a great job.
So soccer season is in full swing at John D. Morgan. I have both of my children playing there. The grass is starting to see, well, in good condition. It's starting to see a lot more use and stuff, like a lot more ruts coming out in that bowl area. Don't know if that's something you guys take care of kind of mid-season or not, but I don't think it's a safety issue at this point. But I've seen it kind of over the past month or two of soccer just get a little too well loved. I'd also like to echo about the water tower park there and the roses. It looks fantastic. Love going there every single time. It's a great little gem. And trail, as far as the trail goes, I've been on the trail a couple times on the loop, and it looks pretty great as well. I have nothing caught my eye that I saw that was out of that looked like it needed attention. So.
Okay, recreation. Chair Locker is unavailable this evening. Member Bites?
Recreation?
Yes. Anything to?
I don't know that I really have anything to report about recreation. I do have some sense of senior building change. And I don't know where that would fit in here. There's a committee working on reassignment basically of the senior adult center at the parks and recreation complex. And it's going to be moved ultimately to where the current library is. And the space design looks like it's a really good design out there planning it. Gina and I got to do some input around some of the issues, and I'd love to see a summary come up with that when we get a chance as a report along with theirs, because it's a big change, but it's a serious one and a good one. I don't have anything else to say. You may have something to say.
I don't have anything to report on community building. And I guess I should, is this a place where I could talk about the Bunnies and Bonnets parade? Okay, so Commissioner Loeffler and myself were at the Bunnies and Bonnets Parade along with Commissioner Lee. And it was great. Had a good time and marched down the street. It was well received. There were quite a few people out there. So those of you that came, thank you very much. And it was appreciated.
I forgot I had a question about Edith Morley. The perk pond that's immediately adjacent, is that Campbell maintenance responsibility on the trails around that, or is that Valley Water? Okay. I'll send them an email then.
Okay, so now it's time for staff reports. Parks.
I just have, oh, thank you. I just have a couple things to report on. I reported a month ago the parking lot at the JDM park on the Rincon side. Probably noticed that that project was spearheaded by our engineering staff. They went through and they had a contract to do all the pavement treatments, split rail fence, striping there. But over the last couple of weekends, we had our parks staff members come out and they actually installed the, I don't know if you've noticed, the new 6x6s, the wood that goes around all the tree well planters out there and then along the edge there that was put in over the last couple of weekends. Things turned out real nice. So kind of kudos to everybody. It was kind of a joint project, you know, we had engineering and maintenance staff working together and it turned out to be a really nice project. So we're real excited.
Looks good.
Yeah, thank you.
I won't worry when I'm walking that part of the path.
There you go, good. And the only other thing I have to report, on the Los Gatos Creek Trail, you may have not have noticed, obviously, we got a few campers out there right now. So we are working right now with our contractor that helps us abate those sites. And we're also working with PD because they got to get a 72-hour notice for us to abate those sites. So we're working on that right now. We have about 4 or 5 small locations that we're trying to address right now and have those removed.
Is this only, do you take care of the other locations in the city or is it just?
Yeah,
parks?
yeah, any other locations.
Because there's, I mean, there are quite a few more that I would like to report eventually at some point. So I can talk to you after this about the process, the steps for that.
That's about all I have. Bob, would you like to come on?
Good evening, commissioners. Nice to see everybody. Thank you so much for, I wasn't going to talk about this, but pointing out the roses at Hyde Park. They are special and they really do look beautiful. And that's because our staff purchases I'll call it exclusive rose fertilizer blend. It's a flowering shrub blend. So if you want your roses to look like that, that's one of the secrets we have. And of course, mulching and good care. So I'll make sure I pass that comment on to our staff member who's responsible. Also made a note about the back of the sign for Morley. I'll discuss that with the superintendent. So on my readout today, we had a wonderful Arbor Day celebration at John Morgan Park. It was on the Rincon side. We successfully planted 10 new river birch trees, the Duraheat. They kind of lined the pathway from the over ramp of Santa Tomas Expressway. The kindergartners and the 4th graders that helped participate read poems and worked with us side by side to plant those trees. The feedback was it was their best day ever. We got beautiful little thank you cards, and Ron was there helping with the kids, and those kindergartners were really charged about the whole thing. And that's one of our jobs, is to make sure that the younger generation respects and understands trees, plants, and the environment. And also Mayor Lopez said some very nice words to the classes, telling them to be aware of their own environment and notice what's going on. So it's an excellent, excellent day. I encourage you to go take a look at those trees. Speaking of signs, a while ago at Gomes Park, a resident had a medical emergency and lost control of his car, took out the Gomes Park sign. So we've used volunteers to create a new sign, which is up now, and we're waiting for the lettering from a local sign vendor. So the lettering should be up very shortly. So when you go by Gomes, should look really nice. And again, that was the sign was created by volunteers. As you're driving around and looking around, you may notice a new park temporary. His name's Daniel Seville. We're very glad to have him and appreciate HR working him through the process so we can get more staff. Because one of the things that is coming up is clearing the weeds on the Los Gatos Creek Trail for both fire suppression and for ease of use for the residents. So that's a big job. We will probably work with Recreation to post certain areas of the trail for closure. So we can close one small section, clear it all out, reopen it. We've tried doing it with, you know, stopping the people, but it's just too much. People want to go their own way. So we're excited about that moving forward. And as you can tell, it's beautiful out there. The grass is growing, the plants are growing. We're in full-on maintenance zone activity, which is irrigation inspections and repairs and plant pruning, hedging, and care. And yeah, that's my report for today. Does anybody have any questions?
Quick, I haven't been to the playground the last week or so, but when do the water features get turned on?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And it'd be easy to turn them on right now. However, as we're going into cooler weather next week, what happens is the moms come out there, they have all their gear, the kids all packed up with sandwiches, everything else, and the kid will go push the button, get all wet, and then say, "Mom, I'm cold." And then she got to pack up all her stuff and go back home. It's a big annoyance for them. So until the weather gets consistently warm, and it might be after next week, you guys know there's a big cooling trend coming, right? Because this week's kind of warm, but next week it's going to be cool. We don't really want to bounce around and turn them on and off, but I kind of think that they're going to go on next week. If that answered your question?
Yes, yeah, thank you. And I appreciate, I know I'd mentioned this before, appreciate you guys turning them off in the winter and other things, because I have been that mom.
Yeah. Oh, who am I telling you? Yeah.
We have to go home. No.
Okay, well, thank you. Folks. Oh,
I'd like to comment, the JD Park is really looking good, but that new parking lot revision is great.
okay. Thank you so much. That's our engineering department, Amy Olay and Ron.
It's a very nice job.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Before Bob leaves, I just wanted to let you two know that this will actually be Bob's last meeting he will be attending. Bob is going to be retiring next Monday, Thursday. May 15th will be his last day as an employee for the city. So we are truly going to miss him. Done a lot of positive things for our parks and with our staff, growth with our staff and everything. So we're truly going to miss him. But our goal is to continue to keep our parks at that standard that he's leaving them in. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure. It's a great city to work for. Some of you I've known for a lot of years, and that's all I can say. It's a great place to work. Thank you so much.
I mean, I think we should stop the retirements at this point if anyone else is thinking, because we had 2 in a row now.
Bob, congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, recreation and community services.
All right, so in addition to the community events that we had listed that we host, our summer registration is now open for everyone. So all of our activities that are happening through August are now online and available for people to register. You're also welcome to come into our office when we're open. We're also continuing to make forward progress with the relocation of the adult center. So as Frank mentioned, the recreation subcommittee came in and got to kind of go through the pre-designs and the layouts and everything that we're working on with the architects. So we're still in this design process. I think today's meeting, we've solidified kind of all the materials for the exterior. They'll be putting together the documents that are needed for planning and kind of pushing this project along. So once we have some more finalized designs, we'll bring those to the commission just kind of as an update to where this project is at. Also, we have a new recreation specialist for facilities that will be starting on Monday, May 12th. His name is Connor Leachman. And as of Monday, we will have the fully staffed team in 6 years? So it's been a long time since we've been fully staffed. So looking forward to next week and having everybody in the right place. And then our team, we're focusing on finishing up our summer hiring right now and getting ready for all our summer programs. And we're still in need of lifeguards. So if you know anyone who is certified and looking for a job this summer, send them our way. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Information only, good of the game. Put you in the hot
I think I
seat.
used up my compliments, but I mean, the roses were fantastic. Edith Morley looks incredible, really good. So thank you all for your work.
As a parent who has now signed up their child for all of these summer camps, I just commented what a ride, well, how easy it is to sign up, and what a wide array of offerings there are. So it's great as a resident to be able to do that.
So my children are now 45 and 46, and it was easy then too.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything to add because I've already made comments.
Body conditioning class at the community center has been running very well. It's very easy to register for it throughout the summer. And I'm still always so grateful that we've got the county library here at the community center too. Thank heavens, because this other libraries take it forever.